Hey, it's Dave Williams here, and thank you very much indeed for taking the time to watch this video. So I hope I'm finding you well, and wow, hasn't it been a weird and crazy last few years? We had COVID, and for many people in many different countries, they were locked away from family and friends and everything and couldn't do too much. And as we came out of COVID, everyone thought, or the vast majority of people thought anyway, that, hey, we'll get back to life as normal again, but hasn't it changed? And a term that I heard a while ago was, it's the new normal. And that's just it. It is. Things are totally different now in many ways than what they were pre-COVID. Society has moved on. And for a lot of people, that's brought certain challenges there as well. So the new normal is a lot different than the old normal in many ways, and indeed for many people. And don't get me wrong, the new normal is great for an awful lot of people. Things have actually moved on exponentially in comparison to what it was pre-COVID, and which is great news. But it's not been like that for everyone. And then, of course, over the last 12 months or so, we've got wars in Ukraine, and here in the UK anyway, we had, 3 different prime ministers in a year. How about that for creating uncertainty? And then we have the cost of living crisis, we've got fuel prices that are going up, we've got political unrest, all sorts of things that are going on. And all of these things impact us as human beings. Maybe not yourself directly, but maybe people around you that it has a big impact with. And that's the thing. And maybe you'll agree with me that, I certainly feel that society as a whole is an awful lot more negative now than what it was 5 years, 10 years, 15 years ago, certainly. And if you do feel that, then by all means, put some comments in the box just below this particular video. And because of that, you've got so many areas of society that, the feeling that words can hurt people. See, the reality is words cannot hurt anyone. A word is a word. It's just a set of letters that are put together. But it's the meaning that we give to those words. It's the meaning and the attachment and the emotion that we attach to those words that makes the difference. And obviously, if someone is actually saying that to you or myself, then it depends on how it's delivered as well as to the impact that those words can potentially have. But the reality is, words themselves, they don't hurt anyone. But because so many people in society, and society as a whole, like I say, seems to be an awful lot more negative these days, then people are actually taking all of these things personally. And there's so much about trigger warning for this, trigger warning for that. Oh, flipping out. Look, we're being triggered all the time with good things and not so good things. And again, it depends on how we react to those particular triggers. See, again, these triggers that we experience, they don't cause us harm. It's the emotion and the meaning that we give to these particular things. So the content of this particular video is going to be the reality of where people are in life right now, which may well seem as a surreal title, I grant you, but bear with me, because it will all come to the fore as I go through this particular training for you. Now, I'm going to warn you now, my drawing is not brilliant, okay? You may well be watching this and think, my 4-year-old can do better drawings than that. The reality is, I'd agree with you, okay? But it's there to actually use as a metaphor, if you will, for where so many people are as far as life is concerned right now. So, if I can put the lid on the pen, it's a good start, isn't it? So I'm going to ask you to use your imagination. Now, the first bit of imagination is the fact that my pen is not running out and they are full lines. But I'm going to ask you to imagine that this is an iceberg. Okay? And apart from anything else, that's one of the reasons why I've done it in blue, because it's cold. Okay. And the reality is, as we know with icebergs, it's said about 2/3 of them are below water level. That's about right, isn't it? Yeah. And so many people are actually going through life, and it's as if they're just going along quite nicely on the water level, just in a boat, and they're just sailing through life. And the reality is, if that's what people want, then fantastic, if they're happy and content with that. Some people want more. Some people, are just happy with getting up every day. So everyone's different. We all have different goals, different aspirations. So using that particular metaphor, imagine this is a person on a boat. Okay? Told you that my drawing wasn't great. And what happens as you're sailing through life, we have these things, don't we, called challenges. Yes? Okay? We all do. We all have challenges in life. And may I congratulate you for being where you are. Now, I don't mean the fact that you're watching this video. I don't mean it that way at all. But what I mean is, you'll have actually had challenges in your life, but you'll have overcome them, or you in the process of overcoming them now. And it's made you the person that you are. So that's why I'm congratulating you. For overcoming the challenges that you would have had earlier on in life. Because there are many people that would not have faced up to those challenges. They would have just given in. But you are different to that. So that's why I'm congratulating you. So well done you. And as you're on this particular boat, you have one of these particular challenges, okay? And you spring a leak, all right? That's not the ideal thing, is it? That you spring a leak. And for many people, when they come across these challenges, first of all, the first thing that they do is panic. And that's obviously not the ideal thing to do. You don't want to be panicking or anything along those lines when you come across a challenge. To identify the challenge and then focus on what needs to happen to resolve this particular challenge. So obviously if you're at this particular iceberg, then it would make sense, although it's going to be slippy, but doesn't that happen with life? Nothing is straightforward, is it? There are always mini challenges along the way. So you've actually got this big barrier there. And this particular barrier on this iceberg is like an overhang, so it's not easy to break through that particular barrier. So for most people, if it's a barrier that they see as too much of a challenge, then what they would do is just sit and wait and stay in their current situation. And maybe people in your life that have been like that, I don't know. Excuse me. And the drawback is, for many people, when they're in that situation and they start bailing the water out, it's not too bad to start off with. But as time progresses, they start to worry. And maybe, people in your life that worry a good chunk of the time, or indeed possibly all the time. And don't get me wrong, using this particular metaphor, it's understandable. You've got water coming into your boat, you're actually bailing. So it's understandable focusing on, the likelihood of what might or might not happen. But some people aren't happy with that. And they keep on bailing, and that worry turns into anxiety. So the fears that people have as far as this water coming in and not being able to deal with those challenges gets magnified. But, and again, maybe people in your life that seem to be anxious the vast majority of the time. And if you do, don't put that in the comments, all right? Okay. But some people aren't happy with that and they keep on going. So they've been worrying about things, then they've become anxious about things, and they've not managed to get things sorted. So it just leads to a big frustration. And again, maybe people in your life that are frustrated with life at the moment. Okay. And what then happens with so many people, not everyone, thankfully, but with so many people, yeah, they've been worried, they've been anxious, they've been frustrated, and have still not managed to get it handled. So what happens? We turn into a human volcano, yeah, okay, and we just erupt, don't we? And it comes out as anger. And again, maybe you know people in your life that seem to be angry a lot of the time, some of the time. And I don't mean when you stub your toe and go, oh, flipping heck, that hurt. I don't mean it that way. But there are many people that seem to be in a state of anger the vast majority of the time. And you know, when anything happens, you know, then they tend to react and erupt. And not proud of it, but I went through a phase of my life when I was very much like that many, many years ago. But it's like a volcano, isn't it? You know, when you think about it, volcano, you know, it builds up, and it erupts with the lava coming out and everything. And then what happens? Over a period of time, it runs out of lava. So it then becomes dormant, doesn't it? And this is the same with human beings. So we've gone from one extreme of being up there and then we crash. With depression. And maybe you know people in your life that are depressed. And if you do, look, my heart goes out to you because look, I've been there. Yeah. Okay. And obviously my journey was different to, you know, if you know someone. But I've been there. Yeah, I've been through all of these particular stages. And the thing is, as a generalization, because, you know, like I said right at the very beginning of this, that I feel anyway that society is an awful lot more negative now. So we're not necessarily encouraged to take action with these. We look for coping mechanisms, whether it's tablets, you know, whether it's a case of alcohol, nicotine, or anything along those lines. But everyone's different. So what I'm just about to say, I'm not dismissing anyone that is in there, far from it. Because like I said, I've been there myself. And with the exception of a really, really small percentage where, you know, it's just a case of their brain is actually wired slightly different to the vast majority of people. With all of these things, we need to get people from here at least back to here, at least back into the boat. And they may well be bailing out for a while, but at least back to the boat, because then they can make choices. And this particular boat is called the boat of choice. See, for most people, they make a decision to be these. Not necessarily a conscious decision. I want to stress that. You know, it's not a case of they get up every morning and think, I'm going to be anxious today. No, I don't mean it like that. But it is a decision that we unconsciously make because we're deciding how to feel that day. Now, that may well come across as being a bit harsh. I don't mean it to be, far from it. Because those of you that know me and over time, you know, get to know me, I'm all about getting people away from here so they can live their best life. But we also need to look at the situation with real eyes. All right, and like I say, I've been through all this red stuff, so I am talking from experience, not experiences that I like to live again, but they are from experience. Okay. So when we're at least back in the boat of choice, I say some people just want to stay in the boat and are quite happy just bailing out all of the time. But many people want to move forward from that. So they've got the challenges, they want to have a better life, they want to move forward, they want life to be better, they want to make better decisions, better choices, live a better life. But just like life, what we do, we come across those challenges, don't we? And as I said a bit earlier on, that green line is a barrier. But when you've got no other options left, what do you do when you come across a barrier? Yeah, for most people, you smash through it, don't you? And that's what we need to do with this one. So yes, the scenario I painted a bit earlier on was the fact of a bit of an overhang on an iceberg. So it's going to be challenging. But when the need is there, we find a way, don't we? Okay? So what we do, we break through that barrier, because that barrier is called the barrier of trust. And that's the barrier that we as individuals need to overcome and have trust in ourselves that we can and indeed will make things better. So when you've broken through that, okay, it's a slope, it's slippy. But isn't that like life? You know, life in many ways is a bit like a game of snakes and ladders, isn't it? Yeah, so as you're moving along your squares, then it's great when you come across a ladder because you propel yourself in life, don't you? But again, like life, we come across these challenges, and that's like landing on the snake and you slide back down again. But life is full of peaks and troughs, isn't it? As I said earlier on, yeah, we've all had challenges, we've overcome them, or indeed in the process of overcoming them, to make things better, to make our lives better, to grow as individuals, gain these wonderful experiences, so we have these as we get more experienced in life. And that is known as the path of faith. And that's faith in yourself. Yeah, another way you can frame that would be confidence. But having the faith and the confidence in you, your abilities, your actions to take things to the next level. Now, it's all very well saying, oh yeah, just get confidence. Yeah, for many people, that confidence has been eroded over time because of their experiences, because of people that they've had in their lives. And yet sometimes, we need to take that first, second, third step on the path of faith, because we know that what is on the other side is far greater than we've experienced previously. But like I say, wouldn't life just be so simple if it was that easy? But again, the reality is it's not, because as you're going through the path of faith, you come across another barrier or indeed another challenge. Now, this particular barrier is the barrier of letting go. And the barrier of letting go, quite simply, is the stuff that we have done, the actions, the beliefs, the behaviours that we've done to get us where we are now, are not necessarily going to be the ones that we need to take us to the next level. Does that make sense? I really hope it does. Because we are where we are because of the decisions and the actions that we've made over time. And for us to get to the next level, we need to let go of the stuff that does not serve us anymore. Okay? So the type of stuff that we played safe with, the type of times that, for argument's sake, we just vegged in front of the TV of a night and we just watched these, quality programs with a big question mark there. Okay? So if those things aren't serving us, then why do them? So this is why this is the barrier of letting go. And if you imagine, this is a big imagination, okay? That's a bag, believe it or not, okay? And I'll just try and differentiate by filling it in. I'm not going to put any advertising on the side or anything along those lines. Because what we do with all of our experiences, it's as if we walk around carrying a big bin liner, a refuse sack. And what we do with all of our experiences, we're piling those into this bag. And what we do is we're walking around, we carry this bag. And sometimes, I'm sure you're like I am, you see certain people on the high street and they're down like that. And it's as if they've got 2 or 3 bags of experiences that they're carrying on their shoulders. And it's as if they've got the weight of the world hanging there. See, what tends to happen with this bag, unless we let go of it, it is going to drag us down so we can't get to our next levels, reach our full potential, have the wonderful relationships that we want and indeed deserve. Because even then, when we do, we're still going to have all this bag of stuff that we don't actually need, but we're going to bring that to the relationship. So what we need to do, as far as this bag is concerned, is we need to let it go, because if we don't, and I'm sure you've had bags of rubbish over the years where occasionally the seam splits. Yeah, and whereas you're just putting it in the bin or whatever, all of a sudden you've actually got a pathway that's full of rubbish, etc. And that's the reality, what happens with the stuff. Unless we let it go, it is going to be there to keep us in place. And sometime it is going to split. And when we split, all of those emotions that we had attached to that come to the forefront. And they stop us from moving forward. So we need to let go of that. We need to let go of the behaviors and the beliefs that we had over the years that did not serve us. And once we do that, that's when we can break through that particular barrier as well. So hopefully that makes sense so far. And hopefully you haven't laughed too much at my drawings. But having said that, if you have, I don't blame you, because they're not particularly good, are they? Right. So once we break through the barrier of letting go, this is when the fun and the magic starts. How many people do you know that want to be happy in life? Yeah, you're probably saying, yeah, everyone. Yes. I will say 99.9% people on the planet, because there's always the odd few that, no, this is my happiness. Yes, well, give your face a holiday and smile, But most people want to be happy. Now, their level of happiness may well be different to yours, which is different to mine. I don't know. But most people want to be happy. Rather than just being content, they want to be happy. So what happens when you come across that? You get to the next stage of happiness. But some people aren't happy with that, and they keep on going towards the summit, the peak. And some people want to be more fulfilled in life. And we do that by giving to others as well. And it's not just about ourselves. Because fulfillment is, there's not an awful lot of it out there, unfortunately. The possibilities are out there for everybody, but most people are not fulfilled in life. Look, I've been fortunate to work with some phenomenal people in my life, and especially since I've been in the coaching industry, and some of them have been mega successful. They've had the dream house, the dream family with 2.4 children, and still don't know where the 0.4 comes from. But they've had all the toys, they've had the cars, sometimes they've had boats and that as well. But they've not actually been fulfilled in life. And fulfillment is a gift. And it's normally the gift of giving to others that are less fortunate than you. And once we reach real fulfillment, then, hey, the magic as far as life is concerned is absolutely amazing. But some people keep on going. And what happens? When we've got that, when we're happy, it doesn't have to be happy and fulfilled, but when we're happy, fulfilled, then money seems to come our way. Have you ever been in a situation where all of a sudden that someone that you know is just just had this money materialize, and I don't mean the money tree at the bottom of the garden or anything along those lines, but they may well have received a gift, or they may well have received an order for their business or something along those lines. Because what we're doing, we're actually inadvertently attracting this, because our state has changed. Now, what do I mean by that? Okay, let me elaborate. So, have you ever been in a big room? Let's say it was a ballroom or something along those lines. Okay, if not, use your imagination for this bit. And the doors open, and someone walks in, and people have been in conversation, and then all of a sudden the conversation stops, and they just look and stare at the person or the couple that have come in through the door. Have you ever had that? Have you ever witnessed that? Maybe it was you that actually walked through the door and everyone stopped to stare at you. And in which case, many congratulations. And when I say that, I don't mean it's a celebrity or anything along those lines. Yeah, I'm just talking of genuine people. And the reality is, what happens is, when we've reached the barrier of letting go, it's as if we give off this different aura, this different level of confidence that we just ooze out. And what happens, the reason why people stop and stare is they can feel this aura, and I don't mean this to sound woo-woo or anything along those lines. You know, I've not been on the wacky-backy, but there's just something, and people stop and stare because most people want that. Okay? And that's why, if you're ever around celebrities, as an example, so many people flood to them for autographs or whatever, because most people want what they've got. And like I said, they just give off a different aura to everyone else. Okay? So again, hopefully that makes sense. But some people aren't happy with that either, and they keep on going. So they keep on climbing, and they go right to the summit. And what happens right at the summit, their heart opens up fully. And that's when they find true love. Their soulmate. Now, don't get me wrong. When I say that, you cannot, you don't have to be there to get true love. You can get true love down here. But if one person is actually, as an example, struggling because they worry all the time, and their partner has got anxiety or whatever, then the likelihood of that being a phenomenal relationship that's going to be together for many, many years, tragically, the chances are it's not going to happen. Whereas when you meet someone that is in the same aura, then the chances are, the likelihood is that is going to be a relationship for life. Okay? So hopefully this makes sense, and like I say, hopefully I haven't laughed too much as far as my drawings are concerned. But let's just do this at a different level, okay? Now, there was work done. Now, this was pre-COVID, okay? So there was work done by Dr. David Hawkins. So it's not Stephen Hawkins, the gentleman that was in the wheelchair. This is Dr. David Hawkins, okay? And like I say, this is pre-COVID and everything, and he said that 87% of the world's population are in the red zone. 87%. So that's the people that you're interacting with, the people that I'm interacting with. And the thing is, when people are in that particular state, most of the time they do not realize it, first of all. But what they're doing is the way that they behave, the way that they talk, the way that they do things, they are doing things that are having an impact on you, on me, and the people around them. Now, they're not bad people, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying anything along those lines. But the reality is their outlook on life is different to potentially yours, mine, other people's. Okay? And I said, along the lines right at the very beginning of this particular training video, pardon me, that society seems to be an awful lot more negative these days. Wonder why? Yeah, okay. So that is 87%. 9% of people are in the blue. So in other words, they're content with life. So they've got a little bit of a leak in the boat, but they're content to keep on bailing out, all right? And only 4% are in the green zone. When you consider, however many billion people on the planet these days, only 4% being in the green, it's quite scary really, isn't it? Because so many other people, are actually going through life, they're making decisions to impact them. These decisions are impacting other people as well. And if we're coming through that state, then the reality is the decisions that are being made most of the time are not going to be quality decisions. But they're still impacting you, they're still impacting me. Okay? So my goal, when I work with anyone, when I do coaching or anything along those lines, is no matter where you are, if you're here to get you to the next level, if you're here to potentially get you on the path of going to the green, if you're in the green, to get you to the next level of the green, whichever it is. So let me ask you a question. Where are you? Red, blue, or green? Now, do not put that in the chat. Okay? Well, I say, where are you? So wherever you are, if you're not exactly where you want to be at this moment in time, what needs to happen to move the needle to get you to the next level? For things to change for the better for you? There's only yourself that can answer that, really. Okay? And obviously, if I can help, then by all means reach out and personal message me or whatever. Okay? So I'll draw this recording to an end. So I really hope that you've got value as far as that is concerned. And obviously, if I can help you at all, then by all means reach out to me. But in the meantime, thank you very much indeed for watching this. Like I say, I hope you've got value from it. And no matter where you are, whatever you're doing, have a fantastic day. And I look forward to catching up with you soon. All right, take care now. Bye.